Okay, Darren here from Buzzards Field Ukuleles. Welcome back. This is episode 3 of the Buzzards Field Ukuleles.co.uk series of tutorials and pointers for people learning to play the bass ukulele to begin with. This episode is entitled Picks, Plucks and Positions. So, before we get any further, let me explain to you the best way of sitting and holding your ukulele. If you're going to be sat down, what I recommend you do is have the ukulele so that it is flat against your tummy, as flat as you can have it there. This is in order that as you hold with your left hand, if you're left-handed, you've got the best angle to get to the fretboard. It's very common to try and put the ukulele flat when you're trying to learn so you can see what's happening. To do that, your hand ends up in all sorts of strain positions. It's not good, don't do that. Put the ukulele flat against your tummy. To begin with, put the lower bout against your thigh, which brings the fretboard up against your eye level, which makes it easier for you to move your neck around to see what you're doing with your fingers. As time goes by, you'll be able to do this using muscle memory, and you won't need to look at the fretboard at all. Okay? If the ukulele starts to slide down your leg as you're holding it, I'd recommend either using a neck strap or simply use the inside of your arm to press the ukulele flat against your tummy, and you can play in such a way. You want to be holding your hand so that your fingers are draped down towards the strings. I would recommend you think about this as if you were trying to brush some dust off of your blanket, or maybe gently tickle a cat behind your ear. Most of the motion you're going to be taking is coming from your fingers, and the control of your hand is going to be coming from your wrist. You're not going to be using your elbow to move your hand up and down. It's not a strumming motion that you're going to be taking. So sit, relax, upright, ukulele on your leg, and then we're ready to begin. Good. Next question. Plectrums. Should we use a plectrum or not? There's no ukulele police. You can do what you want. However, I would recommend you don't use a plectrum, especially not to begin with. Main reason for this is that better technique is with your fingers when you play. You'll find that if you learn to play well with your fingers to begin with, it sets you up much better for a bit later on. Secondly, the strings themselves, being a synthetic compound, are soft, great for the fingers, but can be easily damaged with a plectrum, especially a hard one if you're using it. You won't snap a string, but you might cut it. If you must use a plectrum, I recommend you use a felt plectrum or a leather pick. People can use both of those. But to begin with, take my word for it, use your fingers, not your thumb, use your fingers. Chords. Can you play chords on the ukulele? Yes, of course you can. Can you play chords on a bass ukulele? Not really, no. It is possible to play a chord. It doesn't sound good though. If you're going to use chords, what you might want to do is use what we call dyads, using your two fingers and the bottom two strings. This sounds okay, but it's primarily a plucking instrument for picking. You'll play single notes rather than chords. If you're familiar with the chord shape on, say, a guitar, you'll know that the strings that you would press down and form part of the chord can be then used on the bass uke. So for example, to play an A chord on a guitar, you would depress down the D string and the G string as an A chord, but you wouldn't play it all at once. Okay, that's picks, plucks and positions. Join in next time and we'll move on to the next section, which is root notes. This is when you start to play a bass line.